It is. I mean, you take Pine Ridge, where you've got probably average annual income of probably $8,700. You've got probably 17 people on average living in a house. You've got 10, 15, maybe even 10 or 15% that probably or that don't have food or don't have water or electricity. It's a really sad deal. And then the roads, which is what I think a lot of people don't understand. It's what they call roads are just merely trails back to homes. And so anytime you get any real rain, real snow, flooding, mud, those people are just stuck.
Americans are capable of achieving extraordinary things when they have the freedom and opportunity to do so. This is American Potential.
Welcome to the American Potential Podcast. I'm your host, David Fromm. Food is one of the life's basic needs. We all have to eat. But where you live is a factor in how easy it is to get groceries. In some parts of the country, people have multiple stores just minutes away, making shopping a quick and easy trip. But in other areas, especially rural parts of America, getting groceries can mean driving 30 minutes or more, sometimes on rough roads. The reality is, where you live plays a big role in how convenient grocery shopping is. One grocer saw this challenge and put his stores in certain areas so people don't have to travel as far to get what they need. The area his stores service are in some of the poorest parts of the country. So he has gone a step further than just providing a place for people to buy food and started a nonprofit called Team Buche Cares. I want to welcome to this podcast RF Buche, who is the president of GF Buche Company. RF, welcome.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming on. So before we get started, your last name is very unique. So I'm saying it as Buche, but yes. Folks who wouldn't know otherwise, it's actually spelled B-U-C-H-E.
Yes.
So what's the story there?
Sure. So it was actually pronounced Buche, but when GF Buche Company, which is Gus Francis Buche, my great grandpa. I'm a fourth generation grocer. We'll turn 120 years this year. We started in 1905. But when my great grandpa came and set up our first store on the Yankton Sioux Reservation, his friends, or colas, as they would say in Lakota, didn't say Boucher. They just said Buche. They kept calling him Buche, so he just left it. So it's RF Buche and GF Buche Co.
Nice. So in a way, it was almost named by his friends.
That's right. That is exactly right.
Wow. So you said the store goes back to 120 years?
Yes. Our company's been around for 120 years. I think Gus had our stores up to 17 or 18 at one time. Mm-hmm. And we lost nearly all of them during the Depression.
Oh, wow.
Down to about 3 stores, I think. But one of the things I'm pretty proud of is that not only did my grandpa pay every invoice, but he paid every invoice on time. So it's kind of a neat story, and I think speaks to our family name a little bit.
Yeah, that's a high standard to grow up to.
Yeah, it is.
So you said it was a 5th generation?
I'm 4th generation, yeah.
4th, okay, yeah. So what was it like growing up in the grocery store business, and what made you want to go into it?
I don't know that. I mean, once I figured out the playing in the NFL was off my list, it was just, there just wasn't any other choice. I just grew up in it. I never felt like I was pressured to get into it. I just loved it. I can remember helping out when I was 4 years old. I think I went on the payroll when I was 12, and it's just all I've ever known, and I absolutely love it. My wife tells me all the time, you don't realize how lucky you are to get up, put your pants on every day, and just love to go to work. So I thank my dad's still alive, and I thank him every day for the opportunity that I've received by being able to buy him out of the grocery business and carry on the family tradition and legacy.
So my understanding is that your dad did play a significant role and had a big impact in you deciding to go into this business. I mean, can you tell me a story about that?
Sure. One of the stories that I like to tell, because I think it explains why I'm so passionate about the communities that we serve and rural South Dakota and tribal communities throughout South Dakota and really rural America is, I was about 7 years old and I was working with my dad in our Gregory store, Gregory, South Dakota, which is where I was born. Mm-hmm. And there was a young mom who could not pay for all her groceries. And my dad walked up quietly and gave our clerk the money for her groceries and stepped away without a thank you, without anything. And so later after she left, I said, Dad, why did you do that? And he just said, RF, when you're in this business, it is your moral obligation to make sure no one goes hungry. And I've never forgotten that.
Wow. That is definitely taking it a step further than just providing people with groceries.
Yeah.
Or the opportunity to buy them.
To us, it's more than that. It's, like you said earlier, we operate in the poorest, or if not some of the poorest counties and areas in the United States. And a lot of things that we all take for granted are not there. And so I feel very passionate about advocating for my customers and doing what I can to help them.
So what is like the footprint of your stores? Like what area are you in specifically, and how many stores are you guys at right now?
We have 24 total stores, and we are kind of all throughout South Dakota, South Central, Western South Dakota. Mm-hmm. We just bought one in the north.
It's a beautiful country out there, that's for sure.
It is, especially the
West,
especially the western part of the state. Yeah. It's absolutely gorgeous. And on some of these reservations, it's beautiful country.
And so, are some of the poorest areas that you are located in, or they overlap with? Are they at the reservations?
Yes, all 24 of our locations are either on or near a Native American reservation.
Okay, yeah. I mean, it is really unfortunate. I grew up in the East, lived in the Midwest. There's just not a lot of interaction with the reservations. And then I've spent time now in a professional capacity going west. I spent a bunch of time in South Dakota and other places. And you really realize, like, one, how vast they are from a geographic standpoint, but two, how disadvantaged they are. I mean, some of the poorest areas that you're ever going to find in America, it's really sad.
It is. I mean, you take Pine Ridge, where you got probably average annual income of probably $8,700. You've got probably 17 people on average living in a house. You've got 10, 15, maybe even 10 or 15% that probably, or that don't have food or don't have water or electricity. It's a really sad deal. And then the roads, which is what I think a lot of people don't understand, it's, what they call roads are just merely trails back to homes. And so anytime you get any real rain, real snow, flooding, mud, those people are just stuck and without the basic necessities for days and sometimes weeks at a time.
So you all recognize the need to go beyond just selling the groceries, and that was starting Team Buche Cares. What do you all do?
Well, we're founded on 3 basic principles, which is hunger, which is trying to get food to the people. We just did a holiday promo where not a promotion, but we did a holiday feed where we got Christmas turkey out to 100,000 people.
Oh my gosh.
Throughout South Dakota, 121 communities, all for under $2 a person.
That's amazing. I mean, that's like 10% of the population of South Dakota, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, more, actually.
Yeah, you're right.
So feeding people, and not just that. We get requests all the time for, I just can't make ends meet, and we try and help them out in that way as well. The second principle is help, which that might be anything from cancer assistance. We raise money for local cancer patients. And then it might be, hey, we need some wood to stay warm, or we need propane, or there was a blizzard in 22 at one of the reservations that we got them clothing and mittens, hats, gloves, shovels, etc., things like that. And then education. We've donated nearly $500,000 in Underdog Foundation scholarships. So about 10, 15 years ago, I got tired of seeing all the kids that are, have got the best grades and the best athletes and the most popular getting all these scholarships. But how about the guys that just don't have the guys and girls that just don't have the skill set, or just need a break to go on and further their education? And so we give what we call Underdog scholarships as well.
That's fabulous. I mean, I feel anyone who's getting a scholarship, I'm really happy for them. But I mean, someone who has not had advantages in their upbringing and has had significant obstacles to overcome, to still be able to be successful and to still, have a mind that wants to just go and, further education and work hard, giving them a step up really is the most advantageous thing to society, even because we're pulling folks up who've been dealing with a lot of obstacles, but are now going to contribute in such a great way to their community and to society.
Absolutely. Some of these stories you just can't even imagine. I mean, my mom died in a car accident, and my dad committed suicide, and I grew up with auntie and uncle, and was molested through my whole childhood. And just some of these stories are just, they're heartbreaking to read.
Yeah.
And, but they're real. And
yeah.
Those are the kids that we want to, if they want to further their education, to give them a chance to do so.
That's fabulous. So what was the first program you all did?
Well, we started out with cancer. And so, there was a family that in one of our communities that, they had a little girl that, had cancer, and her wish was to go swim with the dolphins. And I just saw the effect that this had on our community. And so we went ahead, and as a company, we paid for her to go down and her family to go down and swim with the dolphins. And it just meant so much to our team members, our employees, that we decided, look, we need to do something all the time. And so we started off selling water for these cancer patients, and we would do it at a specific time. It was usually in October. But my team members would challenge me to things like, I would have to wear a pink flamingo suit and give cookies away, or carry out groceries. It just in different costumes. But the last one was, I had a 115-mile bike ride between our stores, and I couldn't walk for 2 days. And I thought, there's got to be a better way.
So there's some self-interest wrapped up in this.
Yeah. And now we raise money for food pantries. We just partnered with the state of South Dakota and Yankton Sioux Tribe and USDA, and just did a summer food program that unfortunately didn't end up the way that we wanted, but we still fed 6,700 kids per day that were never getting fed in the past. Unfortunately, there were some clerical errors made, but that the funding didn't come through like they thought. So a lot of that had to come from those of us individually. But we did. We fed kids on the Oglala Sioux Tribe, but kids that had never been fed before in the summer.
Wow, that's fabulous. So how many programs do you all have now? And do you have a favorite one?
Well, of course, anytime we can feed these kids, it's important. I mean, getting food in their stomach just prevents so many things. I mean, not just health-wise, but I've been told that when we fed last year on the Oglala Sioux tribe, 6,700 kids per day, 2 meals per day, and there was the lowest rate of suicide that's ever happened on the Pine Ridge Reservation.
Yeah, that is such an epidemic. That makes sense, though. I mean, when you're taking care of people's most basic needs, they can actually start climbing the ladder.
Yeah, it's just so, it's really, really sad that, you know, I know that a lot of schools have these programs. Well, these guys don't have, out on the Pine Ridge, they just don't have the transportation to be able to get to the school, you know, 2 times a day, 5 days a week, or whatever it is. And so the summer food program, we were able to give them enough for the entire week that they could take home and eat and do things but unfortunately the government regulations are really, really difficult on those. And so we're hoping we can leave the government out of those things and do that stuff privately in the future.
What, speaking of the government, who do you do that through? Like who do you have to partner with in order to execute something like that?
The South Dakota Department of Education is where it starts. But it's a program through USDA, and it's just called Summer Food Services Program. And unfortunately, because of some of the clerical errors that were made at the tribal level, those kids won't be able to be fed that way next year, which is extremely unfortunate. So we're trying to do a little bit of that. We're going to do what we can privately, but that's how it's a summer food program through USDA, administered through the state.
Got it. Well, speaking of the government, I mean, as you know, at the end of this year, the Tax Cuts and Job Act is set to expire. You know, since you're a business owner, we wanted to, you know, ask you, did it help you after it was passed in 2017, and what impact would it have if it expired?
Sure. So, you know, a couple things that those tax cuts helped with us for us. It allowed us to expand. Mm-hmm. It allowed us to update all of our equipment, which is not only good for energy savings for us, but it also was good for the customer. So when you're in those rural markets, somebody buys a head of lettuce, you know, it takes a couple days for that lettuce to get here to us. And then it may sit on our shelf for 2 or 3 days, and the customer takes it home, and, you know, they don't want to eat it that day. They meant 2 or 3 days. So being able to keep it colder longer makes a big difference. And it helps with dairy, the shelf life of dairy, meat, produce, things like that. So we were able to put that equipment in, which is, you know, help energy savings and help the product stay good longer. And then the biggest thing to me is those tax cuts allow me to do what I believe I was born to do, which is to give back. And I am very passionate about feeding people that are less fortunate than others. And it's allowed us the ability to do those things, to put money back into our communities, to feed some of these kids that haven't been fed in the past.
So if those tax cuts were to expire, how do you think that would impact, you know, on the philanthropic side, on the business side? Would it have impacts across the board?
It would have impacts across the board. On obviously on the business side, no doubt, for a lot of reasons. On the philanthropic side, you know, I'm a guy that I'm in this business to help people. I'm not, you know, making money is not the end all be all for me. It's a tool to be able to do the things that we do at Team Buche Cares. And so anytime that the business side suffers, unfortunately, Team Buche Cares is going to suffer because that's where the bulk of our funds, you know, we do raise money from others, but the bulk of it is coming from RF Buche or GF Buche Company.
Yeah, you know, somebody said earlier that struck me because I've had the same feeling just professionally. It's like, you know, when you have like a lot of fulfillment in what you do, like when you can wake up every morning and be excited about what you do, it just makes all the difference in the world. I actually feel like you could be more innovative and be better at what you do when you really find a lot of joy and fulfillment in it. So I was so happy to hear that you love just, running grocery stores, but then the Team Buche Cares stuff is a whole nother level there.
That's definitely where my passion is. I mean, I love the grocery business. And we've got a few other retail things, but really, if I could commit my time to 100% of my time to Team Buche Cares, I would, because I absolutely love helping people. I believe that, we've got the infrastructure in place to be able to know the areas that we're doing, know the places that need it, and be able to get it out to them.
Well, again, I think it's so awesome that you're just meeting people's basic needs. I mean, and that just gives them a platform to stand on to then go and do something like, get a scholarship and get a great education or whatever.
Exactly. It's all got to start with some food in their stomach. If they don't have that, and it's just, I just don't think a lot of people can fathom what these kids go through. And when their stomachs aren't full, it just leads, depression and crime and health problems.
Totally.
The list goes on. And so it just seems like a real easy solution is to get some food in these kids' stomach.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a wonderful mission. So if we have listeners and viewers who would like to donate to Team Buche Cares, like where can they, what's the best place for them to do that?
Well, we've got a website, which is Team Buche, and that's BUCHE cares.org.
Yeah, that's easy. So teambuchecares.org.
Yes.
Well, I hope folks been moved by this and want to go and help out there, because I can tell you just from my, being in South Dakota recently, actually, it is a beautiful, beautiful place, especially the western part, but there's a ton of poverty, and you're in the front lines trying to help make life better.
And then we've got some videos on there on some of the stuff that we've done. So if you click under our impact, you could see some of the work that we do and we continue to do. And there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. But it's easy to do when you love it and you're making a difference.
Yeah. And when you're not riding 115 miles between stores.
That's right. Right.
Do you just wear the pink flamingo costume for fun sometimes?
Yeah, actually, I wear it sometimes, not just for my regular workday stuff.
That's awesome. RF, thank you so much for coming on and sharing your family's history and how you guys are serving your community. It's truly inspirational, and I really appreciate what you're doing and what you shared with us.
Thank you, and thank you for giving me the opportunity. I have enjoyed this, and I really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, friends, if you'd like to stay connected with the podcast, please be sure to like and subscribe to our channel, as well as following us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And always remember, liberty and freedom are easily taken for granted. Don't take it for granted. Go out there and defend liberty and freedom. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you for listening to American Potential. You may listen to more stories from Americans working every day to expand freedom and opportunity in their communities by visiting AmericanPotential.com.